screen. Oh, and you are locked in there.
Well, I don't have a snorkel, but I'm ready for the beach. So it's the best thing. I don't actually have one, but I figured, hey, I'll do the best I can. I'm ready to go.
I love it. I love the tropical theme. I think so. You were on the World Snorkel Day. You were with us for World Snorkel Day last year.
I was.
And I remember, I think some people had sunscreen on their faces. I don't remember who. Some people were wearing their hats. You've got the shades and the Hawaiian shirt today.
Yeah, I'll probably lose the shades at some point, or I won't be able to see the screen. So, but at least we can kick it off this way.
Awesome. Well, really grateful for you joining us here today. And I'm going to hand it off to you.
Absolutely. I think I will lose the shades so I can actually see here. Let me go ahead and share my screen. We'll make sure all that's looking good. So give me a second to share my screen.
And while you're doing that, I know some people in the chat here, they're trying to use that access code and they're saying that it says it's expiring tomorrow, which is not much of an app. So if you're encountering that, Jeff right now is updating it so that you will have access here to Snorkl, that premium account, all the way through January.
All right. Well, fantastic. So the screen should be available if you want to pull that up. And it's totally up to you. If you don't want to leave me on the side, you can make it go full screen. If people don't need to see me over here, I don't mind disappearing. So they get a little bit more real estate there.
Oh, I'm sorry, Eric. I removed you entirely. That's not what you meant.
It happens. No, it's totally up to you if you want to change the focus on there. So perfect. Oh, love it. Absolutely. Well, guys, hey, thank you so very much for being with me here today. Let me be a small part of World Snorkel Day. Absolutely excited about this opportunity to get to learn with you and close things out here today. I hope you've been learning an awful lot today. Snorkl is one of my favorite tools, and I'm so glad you're a part of this. So I'm going to be wrapping things up here, finish things up with a session called Level Up Every Learner with AI. Now, a lot of times I do this as a keynote, like an hour-long keynote. We're not doing that. I'm doing a small Snorkl version of this. So I'm going to move a little quicker through some things. I've cut out some stuff, but it's basically a keynote that I often share, talking about how AI can impact student learning, which, hey, that's exactly what Snorkl can do as well. So that's what I'm excited to be doing. So as we get going here, very quick introduction. Hi, my name's Eric. I'm an educator in Northeast Ohio. Just finished my 33rd year in education, heading into year 34. I'm an ed tech coach. I was a middle school math teacher, moved into a role as an ed tech coach. That's my day job. And then on the side, I travel all over the country, all over the world, actually, working with schools and organizations, conferences, whatever, worksheets, workshops, keynotes, sessions, trainings, all kinds of things. So happy to be learning with you guys today. I do run a website called ControlAltAchieve.com. That's where you'll find everything. So please do check that out. ControlAltAchieve.com. That's where all of my resources are, my training videos, my projects, news updates, just so many resources there. I do have a tab on the site that's entirely about AI. So if you head to the AI tab, you'll find all of the training sessions I do, tons of recorded videos, all totally freely available for you to watch, all the blog posts I've done on AI, tools I've highlighted, such as Snorkl, of course, and so much more. So there's a whole AI page there, as well as just so many other things. Got my newsletter, my webinars, all kinds of stuff there. So please do check out ControlAltAchieve.com when you get some time. Outside of all the ed techy things, I'm also a proud grandpa. Always love to give a shout out to the grandkids. Then all of my hobbies and interests, board gaming and crossword puzzles and all kinds of stuff like that. So a little bit about that side of me as well. I would absolutely love to keep learning with you after today. So please do stay in touch. You can use the bit.ly link you see here, but honestly, it just takes you to the connect page on my Control Alt Achieve site. If you head over there, there's a little connect tab on the far right, and there's just loads of ways to stay in touch. Social media, YouTube, newsletter, whatever. You find find the option that works best for you. And as I mentioned also, yes, I've also got all of my AI resources. These links get you to that exact same page I mentioned earlier. It's the little AI tab, but you can use like bit.ly/Eric-AI as well to get there. All right, so that's the intro. That's me, and that's all the good stuff that's out there. Please take advantage of all those things. They're all freely available to use any way that you would like. So level up every learner with AI. Let's get into it. So the first thing I'm going to start off with is, hey, a little confession. I'm a nerd. And I don't say that in a negative way. I wear it proudly. I'm a nerd. I've been one my whole life. You might have picked up on that a little bit when I was going through my introduction, listing some of my favorite things that I like. You probably noticed that I mentioned that I like board games. Absolutely. This is actually a picture from my office here where I have a lot of my board games and some shelves. This is not even the whole group of them. But yeah, so I love board games. You say, well, Eric, that's not that nerdy. A lot of people like board games. That's not terribly nerdy. Well, yeah, I also design board games. So here is one I've been working on called Supernova that I've been working on for the last couple of years. I've got it to a spot where I've been doing some play testing with it. So yeah, I'm that kind of nerdy. But I'm also nerdy when it comes to like technology. I don't know. Should I share these pictures? Yeah, this is me back in junior high. So I'm on the left and my friend Scott's on the right. And yes, I was a junior high student selected to attend computer camp. So that is how I spent my summer of my eighth grade year there, heading off to computer camp. But hey, you know what? I put those skills to good use, and I went on in high school to be part of our computer team, and we won a prize at the local computer competition. And then I went further with that to take my computer skills and start writing programs, including one that won me a science fair competition. So yeah, a lot of nerdiness there. And of course, a lot of that culminated, of course, my love of all things Google and technology and things like that. But it's not just technology. I'm also a nerd when it comes to like science fiction and fantasy. Yes, I do have a door that I painted blue and made look like a TARDIS because I'm a big Doctor Who fan. So yes. And then recently I was at a conference where the theme was steampunk. And so we all got to dress up in steampunk. And guess what? I didn't have to buy those steampunk goggles. Yeah, I already had them. I'm like, oh yeah, I'll just grab the goggles I've already got, you know? And again, sometimes I wonder, why do I show the pictures I show? Yes. Yeah. So here's me in a chainmail coif. So yeah, the only thing that helps me feel a little bit better is my equally nerdy son-in-law made that chainmail coif. So he's nerdy as well. But with all of those nerdy things, I would say probably one of the most defining things about me that makes me a nerd is my love of video games. I have loved video games my entire life. Now, I'm an old dude, so for me, that meant the Atari 2600 when I was growing up, you know, Space Invaders and Yar's Revenge and Adventure and Pitfall and things like that. I've always been a video game fan my whole life. Now, take a moment. I'd love to hear what you guys have loved as video games, so feel free to throw in the chat what is or was one of your favorite video games. Now, when it comes to me, I've loved a lot of games, but there's kind of a through line, a thing that connects a lot of the games I've really enjoyed, and that is games that allow you to level up. And when I think about that, there's lots of such games out there where, you know, you're, you know, playing along, and as long as you collect enough treasure or defeat enough enemies or travel far enough, you reach a new level. You get to level up your character, and usually when that happens, there's some sort of fanfare. So, for example, here is a quick little clip from Animal Crossing. When you move up a level, here's what it sounds like. So yeah, you'll get things like that. Or here is what happens when you move to a new level in Super Mario Brothers. Or probably one of the best known level up games would be Pokemon. Yeah, so here's some Game Boy Color when your Charizard gets to level 100. Awesome. Now, all of those are fantastic, but for me, the game that really pulled me in when it came to leveling up was World of Warcraft. Now, I don't know if we've got any WoW fans here, but oh my gosh, I can't even imagine the number of hours, days, let's be honest, weeks that I spent playing this game over the years. And I would grind and defeat enemies and complete quests and stuff like that, all to hear this sound. Oh, yes, I absolutely love it. I got to listen to it again. It's so good. Here we go. Absolutely. So yes, that was the sound that I had made it to a new level. And what was so cool about that is that when you level up in a game, so many things happen. You know, you increase your stats, you get smarter, stronger, and faster. You get new skills, new powers, new abilities you didn't have before. Maybe customization options. Now you can make choices, do things you couldn't do before. Maybe even go places you couldn't go before. It opens up the map or something like that. Now you can go to a new spot, have new quests, new missions. Basically, you move along further in the game. And that always just kept bringing me back and bringing me back and bringing me back. And you may say, Eric, that's awesome. I love it. I agree with you. What does this have to do with Snorkl? What does this have to do with education? Well, it has everything to do with education and everything to do with Snorkl, because leveling up, that's what we're trying to do for students. That is well, it's one of the points. We do a lot of things. But one of our goals as educators is to meet students where they're at. Doesn't matter. Meet them where they're at and just help them move forward. You know, giving them new abilities, giving them more choices than they had before, opening up doors so they can go places and do things they couldn't have done before, moving further along in their education. And this is something that obviously has been a big focus of education for a long time. You've probably seen this. Apologies if you've already seen this before, but I think it's a great illustration. Back in the 80s, back when I was heading off to computer camp, when I was going to computer camp, Benjamin Bloom was studying student achievement. And he said, you know what, if you just take a regular class, 30 students, no special interventions or anything like that, what you're going to find is that in general, you're going to have most students scoring average on an achievement test, a smaller amount scoring above average, and a smaller amount scoring below average. And he goes, our job as educators is to move the curve to the right. Our job is to intervene. It's to influence, it's to impact our students. We want to take this curve and we want to move it to the right. How do we do that? Now, he was a big proponent of mastery learning. And so we're not talking about mastery learning here today specifically or anything like that, but that was his big thing, where you don't move on until you've covered content, until students have mastered the content before they move on to new things. And he said, if you do that, if you implement mastery learning with your students, you can move achievement scores 1 sigma, 1 standard deviation. Basically, if a student was scoring below average, they can now be scoring average, etc. But then he said, can we do better? Is there any way we can move achievement further to the right? Can we get 2 sigmas? Is that possible? Can we move it 2 standard deviations? And he said, well, actually, yes, we can. There is a way to do that. But the problem is, it's just not realistic, because what it is personal tutoring. If you can somehow give every single student their own personal tutor who is with them 24/7 and follows them around and assists them and explains things and meets them where they're at and, you know, assists them in everything. If you can do that, and they tried it, it worked. They were able to move achievement scores 2 sigma. A student who was scoring below average, they're not just scoring average, they're scoring above average. He said, but yeah, we can't do that. Schools don't have enough money to hire personal tutors to follow kids around every day. So let's go back to mastery learning. Well, sure. But folks, that was over 40 years ago. A lot of stuff has happened between then and now. And one of those is AI. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to say that AI is equivalent to a human personal tutor that you would hire for somebody, but it's moving toward that kind of idea. We can now use AI to assist students with personal tutoring, with 24/7 support, with help that meets them where they're at. We can now have that tool to move achievement along and level up every learner. We have artificial intelligence tools we've never had before. Now, of course, AI can help educators immensely. And I'm sure we've had loads and loads and loads of trainings about that. We can use AI as educators to help us create all sorts of educational content, re-level things, process giant amounts of data, assist us with grading. And that's great. That's fantastic. That's not what I'm talking about here today. I totally think this is wonderful. We have to do this. We need to train teachers on how to use AI appropriately. And I've got loads of that on my website. Head over there. There's loads of that kind of stuff. That's not what we're talking about here today, because here's the thing. The ultimate goal of AI cannot just be to support educators. Yes, it is great for supporting educators. Please, absolutely do that. But that cannot be the ultimate goal. We must use AI to empower students to be the best they can be. That's the goal that we're heading toward. That's the promise, is to be able to truly help our students be the best they can be. So that's what we're looking at here today, is how do we do that? How do we level up our students with AI? Now, there are so many ways we could do that. We're just going to hit 3 real quick. Feedback, personalized learning, and accessibility. And I'm not saying these are the only ones. I guarantee you, there's a lot of other ones we could talk about. I just picked a couple quick ones that we could look at here about how can we use AI, specifically, how can we use Snorkl to level up our students in these ways. So that's what we're doing. We're going to dive into feedback, personalized learning, and accessibility. All right. Let's jump on in. So feedback is the first way we're going to try to level up our kids. Well, let's start with where we're at. Let's start with level 1. Where are we today before, we take our Squirtle and level it up, so we do, hey, listen, we do our best. We try. We are doing a really awesome job. Every educator everywhere is doing an amazing job, but we do face limitations as it has been. So at level 1, yeah, sometimes feedback is delayed. We want to grade things. Maybe they don't get it back till the next day, or maybe the next week. Who knows how long it might take? A lot of times our feedback might be summative, like, hey, it's all done. Here's the grade you got, and here's why you got it, and there's nothing you can do about it, as opposed to formative feedback where we're trying to revise and improve things. Sometimes our feedback may lack depth. We have time constraints. We have workloads. It's so much to be able to try to give that personalized feedback, which again, it might not be personalized. It may be a challenge to tailor it individually to students, and it may be limited in its modalities. A lot of times it's just text feedback on text submissions, because that's what we can do. Well, guys, it's time to power up. So we are going to power up and help level up our students with Snorkl. Now, if you've been at World Snorkel Day all day today, you already know all this. So I'm not going to go into great depth, but let's hit some of the keys. Yeah, Snorkl. Oh my gosh. This is an amazing tool where you, as an educator, create a question for your students. You give guidance to Snorkl, letting it know how you want that to be graded. And then your students, they can answer that question in multimodal response. They can record their voice. They can use a whiteboard. They can type. They can draw. They can all of these different modalities. And then the AI takes everything the student says, everything they write, everything they draw, anything they put into that. And the AI processes that and gives them immediate feedback to help them understand what they knew, what they didn't know, if they got something wrong, where they need to work to improve that. And of course, it tells you, the teacher, as well. So again, I'm not going to go into great depth on this. I'm sure you've seen it many times, but just so we all do know. So for example, here is Snorkl. So what I'm saying is, as a teacher, the idea is I go in and I create an assignment. Here's a very simple one I made. And apologies, this is probably an incredibly simple example. It's probably not anywhere as in-depth as I would like to show off, but it's going to be fine. So here's one on second class levers, where I said, hey, you know what? I want my students to be able to do the whole thing: speak, type, draw, anything they need. I want you to draw an example of a second class lever, explain what it is, and then label the different parts. Say, what is the fulcrum, what is the load, where is the effort applied? And so I went in and said, you know what? That's a science question for middle school. I want the AI to help grade that. So I tell Snorkl, hey, here's what I'm looking for. This is the example of the kind of thing. Maybe it's a wheelbarrow, a nutcracker, or a bottle opener. They need to explain all these things. And I basically set that problem up. I also went into my settings and said, you know what? If the student is struggling, we can also have them use the Snorkl coach. They can chat with the Snorkl coach to get additional assistance. It's not going to do their work for them, but it's going to help them. And so basically, that's the problem I created. And then a student is going to come along, and when they go in, they can go in to start this response. And yeah, absolutely. They can now literally draw on the screen. They can speak. It can record their voice. If they need help, they can come over here and click on the Snorkl coach, and they can ask for help. It's not going to do the work for them, but it'll walk them through. It'll help explain some things or ask them leading questions. Well, like if I said, what is the fulcrum? Maybe I'm confused about that. Well, okay, Snorkl is going to look at the screen. It can tell exactly what's on the screen here and realize that's the problem I'm working on. And let's see if it can, assist me. That's a great question. What do you think a fulcrum does in a lever? So, it's going to try to, help me work through that, meet me where I'm at, and coach me along. And then when the time comes, I will not actually take the time to do the whole recording now. Obviously, we're trying to save time here, but I would hit record, and there we go. It would record me. I would speak. I would draw. I would explain all of that. And when I'm all done, what happens is, of course, it collects all those responses. It says, okay, these students got it right. These students didn't get it right. And so if I've got 125 students, I could have all of them go to Snorkl, record their answer, and Snorkel's going to say, hey, Eric, these 110 got it right. These 15 got it wrong. Those are the ones I need to play back now. Now, I'm not going to play these right now, but I would click on them. I could listen to the entire thing. I could hear everything that the student recorded. I could watch them as they, draw out their diagrams, as they answer the question. And it allows me to see who struggled and what they struggled with. There's even an Insights tab where it breaks down what are the most common issues there. So I know that's very quick. I would like to give much more time to it, but that's the idea. With Snorkl, we can now level up feedback. We go from level 1 to level 2. I think that's a Blastoise, maybe. I'm not too good on my Pokemon. I feel bad, but basically instant feedback. Now students are getting feedback right away. It's telling them, here's what you got right. Here's what you got wrong. It's giving them instant feedback. And it's formative because here's the thing. They can resubmit. After it tells them, hey, that's not quite right, they can try again. The student is in the loop on that. It's also guided. I was able to tell Snorkl exactly what I wanted in the final answer, so I was providing guidance in that. It's also personalized. It's specific to that student and their work, and it's multimodal. We're processing text, images, voice. It's able to handle all of that. Now, if that's all Snorkl did, that'd be great. But no, it does so many other things. Oh, I still need to have this slide. Sorry, I was going to skip over this one. When a student uses AI feedback, it is super effective. There we go. Excellent. Fantastic. All right. Now, I could go into other things like personalized learning and, accessibility. And I could go into great depth. All I'm going to say is, yeah, Snorkl checks these boxes as well. We're going to jump straight to level 2 here. Like I told you, this is a slightly abbreviated version of the normal session. But yeah, with level 2 of personalized learning, the idea is these are AI tools that are available anytime. So a student can interact with it when it works for them. And the tools have a vast knowledge that they're pulling from. It's personalized to each individual student. I can pop up that Snorkl coach and it can meet me where I'm at and support me. It provides a safe space where it doesn't run out of patience with the student. And of course has accessibility built right into it, which we're going to mention here in a moment as well. And it's engaging. Same thing with accessibility. Again, we'll jump straight to level 2. We get advanced tools that are integrated right into the product that handle multimedia. I know I didn't play an example there, but the Snorkl coach will actually, it can read everything aloud to the student as well. But the whole thing is processing, images, audio, voice with realistic sounding voices that are real time. So all of this is fantastic. These are wonderful ways to be able to level up all learners. We can provide accessibility support. We can provide personalized learning that meets them where they're at. We can provide personalized feedback for students. And I think we would all be sitting here saying, I like this. This is good. That is a positive thing. But I also know sometimes we say, but what does that mean for me? If the AI can, help tutor a student, and the AI can provide feedback, and the AI can meet them where they're at, and the AI can provide accessibility, and the AI can do all of these things, are we heading into a future where it's going to take my place? Are we looking at AI replacing us? Absolutely not. I just want to get ahead of that and make sure that none of us are thinking that way. Here's the idea, folks. AI is not here to do your job. AI is here to help you do your job better. Snorkl is not here to replace you. Snorkl is here to augment you, to support you, to help you be the best teacher you can possibly be. So, for example, if your worries about AI make you think of the Terminator, no, that's not what we want. We're not talking about the Terminator. We're talking about Iron Man. Let's compare these two, what we're talking about here. In the Terminator, no, it's just the AI all by itself. In Iron Man, there's a human in there, and that's you. You're the teacher in there that's being augmented by the AI. So Tony Stark has Jarvis that he can talk to as an AI assistant, and he's got this amazing suit that gives him abilities he doesn't have otherwise. That's the vision that we're going for here, that AI is our assistant. We want AI to help us like Iron Man, not be a Terminator situation there. But that might mean some differences. That may mean, yeah, folks, it may look a little bit different. In the age of AI, we may focus on more things. We might focus more on designing learning experiences. We may be focusing on customizing content to help differentiate learning for our students. We might move more toward facilitating and coaching rather than just instructing. You know what? Leveraging data. How about that? All the things that Snorkl is collecting for us, taking that information so that we can inform our instruction better. And you know what? That might mean working in smaller groups with their specific needs and their specific interests. Now that we know who needs that support. Ultimately, though, it means increasing human connection. We're going to know more about our students. We're going to understand them better, what they know, what they don't know, where they're struggling, where they need help. And then we can pull them aside. We can work with them individually, and we can increase that human connection. Now, we're down to the last minute, so I'm going to skip a couple of slides here at the end. I apologize, but I'm going to pull it to my final last couple of comments here, which is, I was going to ask you to think about, what teachers have made a difference in your life and why and all of that. We're going to skip over that real quick. And basically what I'm going to say is that with a tool like Snorkl, and so many wonderful AI tools, it can support you. It can come alongside you, help you be the best teacher you can be so that you can help level up your students, so that you can connect to your students better, inspire them, challenge them, stretch them, believe in them, and ultimately level up every learner. All right. Well, hey, I am so glad that I got to hang out with you guys for even just a little bit here today, and hopefully share some encouraging ideas about how AI is here to support us, but ultimately to help every one of our students be the best that they can be. And thanks to Snorkl for being a piece of that puzzle.
Eric, huge thanks to you for sharing all that, and I love all the sound effects and the nerdiness of it.
Oh yeah,
that was a lot of fun. It was a great way to wrap up an awesome day. I think there's some people who have been on this call for the last 6 hours with us, and just big shout out to all of them. I think it's one of the things that has made Snorkl really special is we've had the opportunity to connect with teachers all over the country and in fact all over the world and build some community around this tool and ways that we're using AI generally, but in Snorkl specifically around supporting students to level students up like you just shared. So huge thanks for sharing that.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for letting me be a part of it.